Morning. So, what is it? Day 4. Day 4 of the first week of morning sketches for the year. I hope for those of you that have been joining along, it's been enjoyable. I'm just going to try and straighten my camera. I'm just having a few little lining up issues with the bendy tripod that, if you could see it, it's one of those supposedly stiff bendy ones that holds up on its own, but actually I've got it propped up with a metal ruler and wrapped up with cable ties and stuff, and I just realized I was looking for that ruler the other day. I forgot. It's now part of my tripod. Anyway, so this morning, for anyone that's on the list, you'd have this picture already. It's good that one or two people add to the list each day if you want to draw it. Oh, hello. Thank you for the comments. I never get to see the comments. I see later when I finish that, there were a couple of comments or whatever, and there's no way to actually look at them, and you don't even know who joined. Anyway, so good morning. So this is the picture today. So I thought monochromatic. I'm thinking ink would be the obvious thing. And we're going to introduce a little bit of wax to create the texture as well. But anyway, so to start sketching this, sorry about the shine on there. It's a bit hard to get the lighting right in here. Okay, so to start sketching this, obviously it's got really clear kind of chunky shapes in it, right? So you know immediately that you don't want a really detailed sketch or to be bogged down by trying to be perfect or realistic or anything like that. So we also can't see the body form under there, so we immediately revert to shapes. So probably overall, I would suggest getting in the basic shape as well, because it's a cool long shape as well, so the tendency is going to be that it's going to get a bit wide. Anyway, so I'll start sketching. So I'm going to start with the head sort of to anchor the figure, but keeping in mind also for me, the paper I'm drawing on it's that amazing, gorgeous, heavy kind of cartridge that takes watercolor that I got at Neil's art store last year. And but the sizing of it is weird. So to cut it into a quarter, it comes out at a size between an A4 and an A3. So it's a bit smaller than I normally draw. So my proportions have a tendency to go a bit whack. So I've got to really be mindful here not to start off with the head too big, or else you're not going to be able to get the long feel of the coat because you're going to run out of paper. So visualize the finished sketch on the page before you start actually sketching. That helps. And also want to have plenty of room for my hat. So I'm just going to sort of look basically at the shape of the face that I get to see. She's in a 3/4 view. And, oh man, got to start again. Too high. This is just for rough proportions and blocking in. And then those sounds, if you can hear weird sounds in the background, that's Frankie, the cat. Oh, she's doing that disgusting cleaning herself. Yeah. The visuals and the sound are equally revolting. So just look at proportions overall. Make sure your feet are going to be in the right place. Look at that balance line. And then we'll just refine the overall shape a bit more. Because when when it's such a simple shape and there's not the detail that you're going to be including, while the shape is really simple, the important bits of this are where, she has her hands in the pocket, so it causes a sort of a triangle out for the side of the coat, and that's quite important. That foot's too big. To get that in the right place, or else the shape is just going to be blobby and meaningless. So as simple as it is, it's like if you've only got 10 words to say something with, right? You've got to be really selective about the words that you use to get your point across. So it can be a bit like that with the drawing. If it's going to be not very detailed, then what you do include needs to give the right message. Just hold it up, that's all right. Then, so the overall shape is there. Sort of look at where the hands are in the pockets, giving that we lengthen the legs a bit, so you can make that bottom section a bit longer. I don't want to over specify it in grey lead because I'm going to use a black pencil on it. Look at the shape inside the figure there, inside the coat. Don't forget the coat at the back, otherwise it'll look like a weird paper doll. I think it is getting too wide there. And the belt, you kind of want to make sure that the belt is in relatively the right place. Again, it just won't seem meaningful otherwise. I don't know if you can see much there, sorry. I'll get to the black pencil in a minute. So just going back up to the face. So, you've got your 3/4 view there, and this sort of picture, I just immediately figured a very, very minimal face, not very much detail, and just really suggested features, etc. The weather's wild out there. It's blowing. I don't know what it's like wherever you are. I don't know if it's like this all over Melbourne, or I guess you're not necessarily in Melbourne, huh? Just make sure in the shape of the top of the hat, the body of the hat sort of thing, you make sure you've actually got room for the skull inside there. So I'll kind of do. I just, at the last minute, couldn't find my black pencil, so, and I've got about 1 million, so it's stupid, and I'm organised. But these pencil extenders are great for using up the last of your pencil, because you kind of waste so much otherwise. But that one was getting a bit small and a bit hard to sharpen, so I'm just going to replace with this slightly longer one. Take off some excess. I do want this to be mostly ink. Oh dear. Something just blew over and sounded like it broke. Don't know if you can hear my wind chime out there. I must be driving the neighbours crazy with that wind chime, but I love it. Put my mouth in a bit of a weird position, but hey, what's the rule? Doesn't matter, right? So I've got it mapped out now, so now I can go for much looser lines because I know what I'm doing. Holding the pencil like this is, you're going to lose a lot of accuracy, but you'll gain looser lines and more interesting lines. So I just like to mix it up. I think I'll just do that whole sort of interior area down to the feet as solid black. Now there's a couple of different things that can create the texture on this coat, by the way. Actually, I might just go back up here before I start to paint. So just the leaning of the pencil over, you'll need sort of you need a nice long point on it. And lean it over. And particularly depending on the actual texture of the paper, because the pencil will pick up on that, so it'll create more or less texture that way. Just cleaning up some of that excess grey lead. But I'm going to be using the wax to create the texture anyway, but I'm just sort of adding a bit of potential extra, so it sort of, instantly sort of gives you that feeling of that tweed fabric. Anyway, so I've got these bits of candle that are the sort of candle that you just have in the drawer for when the power goes out, and I just break a bit of that off. So if you haven't sort of used it like this, or if you don't use it much, or even if you do, it can be a little bit hit and miss, the exact effect. And again, this is going to depend on the paper, what the texture of the paper is. If you press too hard, it'll block all of the ink, and if you don't press hard enough, the ink will just paint over it and it won't have any effect. But if you can kind of use the reflection of the light to see how much has gone down. But it's going to be hard to predict for sure. But the more you use it, the more you'll get better at sort of guessing, I suppose. So if you're doing this, try to press different sort of weights, different pressures on different parts of it, so that you can actually try it out. and know for next time. But if you were to paint with pure black, it would cover over the wax anyway, because the pure black ink is just really strong. So you've just got to watch that. Yeah. So I'm just going to use some of this Dr. Martens matte ink. It's not actually my favourite, but I bought it because I get excited when I find new art materials and stuff, and just buy them up like a junkie. I discovered it in New York and bought a heap of it, and then got home and thought, I still prefer my Winsor & Newton. So I'm sort of trying to use it up, but the funny thing is that now that I'm being forced to use it, I'm starting to like it. Funny that. So what to do? Okay, let's start with the hat. You want to work from top to bottom so that you don't get your hand in it like I usually do. Now, when there's a brim, I always think, well, you want to be really loose and swishy with it. So it has a bit of a competent feel to it. I might actually paint that inside black area and then quickly dry it before I do the coat. So I'm going to need a bigger brush than that. This really gorgeous, expensive brush, but sometimes those really expensive, nice hairs and stuff, brushes are just really soft, which is great for some things, but when you actually want to really push the paint or ink around, they can be a bit kind of floppy, a bit flaccid. No one likes that. Oh, I've just lost the shape of my shoe. How annoying. See? It's the flaccid brush problem. Yeah, it's really annoying. Wrong brush choice, doesn't matter. So that will do a bit for that. So use that in there. Use my test strip. Oh, it's pretty dark. Still pretty dark. Let's just see where we're at. These soft, sort of really, I call them fancy hairbrushes, really absorb a lot of paint and ink as well, so they'll sometimes hold it for longer than you want. Oh, here we go. Here comes the wax. Hello, wax. See, how good is that? I really just need lighter ink. Bit over the belt. Oops, looks like I put a bit too much wax on the belt, nothing sticking to it. And then I need to sort of blend this dark area up there on the face. So put a bit of light grey down, and then I can drop the black into it. It'll bleed out. You don't want something like this to feel overworked, all right? You'll lose the nice loose feel of it. It just occurred to me, since I don't get to actually see any comments, or, you can't interact when you're doing this because you're busy drawing, but I guess when I finish in a minute, if you want to ask me any questions or whatever, I'll look at that. I've probably gone a bit too much on the wax, I think, in general, in some places, because there's not a lot of area for the ink to stick down. I think the face is looking a bit super bright, isn't it? So I might what's this? No, that's too dark. Oh, all my dishes of ink are really dark. Maybe that's sort of mid-grade there. And bit of shadow across there. That works, doesn't it? Better. Dare I give her red lips? Would that be the kiss of death, so to speak? It can look really cliche, but I've got this little Tombow marker here. Might regret it. It's a bit daggy, but anyway. So, yeah, so let me... The belt needs a little bit more on it, so there's our picture. There's our drawing. Morning sketch done. So thanks for watching. Did anyone want to ask anything about the equipment or anything? Thanks for joining. I'm glad that a few people watch anyway. Okay, well, have a great day, and I'll post this in a minute, and if you want the picture, I can send it to you.